Hey folks, welcome to Guitar Daily. It's Nick Granville coming to you from Wellington, New Zealand. So, I thought I'd talk about a couple of things today. Firstly, I saw someone recently say a comment about, when I posted this video about my Les Paul and about some of the reasons I don't really gig with one, they said, get a real Les Paul. And it made me think, what is a real Les Paul? Is this one? I mean, to me, looks like one. It says Gibson, Les Paul. Sure, it's a studio variation, right? It's made in USA. The studio versions were the ones that didn't have all the flash binding, so that's really an aesthetic thing. But to me, that's a real Les Paul. But, there's this idea that you don't have a real instrument unless you spend a certain amount of money or something like that. I find that kind of stuff just a load of rubbish. It's funny, I remember a gig once, I played a blues gig in the Blues Club in Wellington, and this guy, who shall remain nameless, came up to me afterwards and he was like, dude, that was freaking amazing. And I was like, oh, thank you very much, It's always nice to hear positive things. I don't absorb them, I just like, you know what I mean? That doesn't help any more than it helps listening to negative things. But I was like, I was respectful and I was like, thanks so much, And he said, when are you going to get a real guitar? Because I played my Ibanez Talman. And I said to him, didn't you just a minute ago tell me how amazing it was? But clearly it didn't say Fender across it, which was kind of his thing. So that beggars the question. Is this a real guitar? Right? It's a Paul Reed Smith. It's the SE. I think SE stands for Student Edition, which with these DGTs, these are great guitars. If you haven't seen my review on it, please watch it because there were some issues with it. But they're killer, right? They're killer guitars. They're as good as the core models, any of the core models that I've played. This one at least anyway. I've played a few of the other models that are not as, the SE models that are not great. But this thing is really happening. I mean, it's great, you know what I mean? And once it was sorted with those issues, it's a pro-level guitar in my opinion, right? I'm using it for pro gigs. But is it a real PRS? I think so. It says Paul Reed Smith on it. Right? Does it matter where guitars are made? I remember someone once saying, a Mexican Fender is not a real Fender. Really? It says Fender on it, A Squire's Fenders, well, that's different because it doesn't say Fender on it, right? Maybe that's the issue. So that kind of brings up, is this a Fender Telecaster, right? It is a Telecaster Highway 1, which again is the thinner finish. I prefer the thinner finishes on almost every guitar I ever have. They sound better. They're not, coated in plastic. And they're going to get marks and stuff on them anyway, right? And some of them I did that, right? Because I wanted it to be less harsh on your elbow. But any of the other marks I've put in this guitar, so what? But it's, and I've changed that pickup too, by the way. People talk about that in another one. But this is a Highway 1. It says made in USA. It says Fender. Looks like a Telecaster. Smells like a Telecaster. It's a guitar, right? It's a Fender Telecaster guitar. So this whole notion that there are real guitars and not real versions of those guitars is rubbish to me. I don't really care where guitars are made. I care about what they do. To me, that's a sound that I'm really happy with. And it feels good. That's what I want, right? I can get the sounds I want. I can get the feel I want. It's all good. It's a real Paul Reed Smith as far as I'm concerned. A real Gibson Les Paul. A real Fender Telecaster. So I kind of think some of that stuff is a little bit of internet talk. Would you agree? Let me know your comments in the comment section below. I'd be curious to know what people think. Is there such a thing? Is there... should we be judging guitars on where they're made? I don't think so, but maybe you do. Should we be judging guitars on what they say on the headstock? I mean, people do when it comes to resale, I get that. If you buy a guitar that's some sort of random thing that, whatever, and then people are not necessarily going to want to pay for that. They might want to see Fender on the headstock. That's fine, I get that. But to me, it's like, what is an instrument? Does it speak to me or not? Does it do the thing it's meant to do? Does this sound like a Les Paul? Very much so. It does that thing really, really well. This does what a Telecaster does. This does what a Paul Reed Smith does. My Ibanez guitars, my JSM does what I want it to do. That guitar's incredible. My AR420, which I use still quite a bit, I'm using that on We Will Rock You for the drop D tuning. Incredible instrument. It's great. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. I just thought I'd sort of share that today and sort of see where people are coming from with that. So I'll play out with some more stuff. I usually like to play out on something and just not have it all be about talking.